So earlier today, I was watching one of the most recent episodes of Shark Tank, and this lady on there kept saying, I don't know my numbers. I'm not a numbers person. She must have said this easily 20 different times. And here's the sad part. She had an amazing product that they were definitely interested in. But by her saying over and over, I don't know my numbers, I can't. And at one point she says, can I look it up? And they're like, of course. So she has it on a piece of paper and then she continues to say what the number is. And then I'm like, I'm not a numbers person. And she keeps going down this path. And I wish I had $1 every time somebody said that to me, because here's what's important for us to walk away with. It wasn't the fact that she didn't get a deal. She didn't get a deal for a lot of different reasons, but one of those reasons is the fact that she was not confident in her business, and she didn't have to memorize those numbers. She could have easily had the numbers to be able to tell them. But here's what really stood out to me. It was the fact that we create a self-fulfilling prophecy. Hey, badass business owners, my name's Tammy and I'm here to help you grow your business, but more importantly, grow your profits. And on that note, in that same episode, I was laughing because Mark Cuban even made a comment in one of the next ones about somebody who was chasing stuff and they were chasing the profits and they were trying to be profitable so they could grow and reinvest in their business. And Mark paused everything and said, you know what? You said something that's really important. Most people chase those sales instead of making sure their bottom line is good. And I say that all the time. Sales are a vanity number. At the end of the day, it's a profit game. Your business will only stay in business if you're profitable, which ties back to the whole know your business numbers. Listen, folks, this is what I want to really get across in this particular episode, if I can. I get that you're not a numbers person. I get that you did terrible in math. I get the fact that when you look at a profit and loss, it looks like somebody just threw up a bunch of numbers all over a piece of paper. I get it. But when you tell yourself over and over, I'm not going to get it, I don't understand, you keep reinforcing that belief in your head. And what happens is it basically shuts down any opportunity, any chance that you have to really get to know and understand your business numbers. Look, I'm not saying that you're going to become a math guru and a math whiz. That's not going to happen. But what I do think can happen is the fact that you can look at numbers and understand the story of what it's telling. For example, if I gave you 3 numbers, 1, 10, and 1,000, I'm pretty sure even if you don't like numbers, you can tell me that the 1,000 is more than the other numbers. And I can also tell you that if you were losing $1, $10, or $1,000, which one's more important to you? Of course, you don't want to lose $1,000. But if I said your sales were $1, $10, and $1,000, you'd be like, oh yeah, I want the $1,000. See, it didn't take a math whiz to know one number was better than the other depending upon the situation. And the same thing goes true for the business numbers that you have. It's all about context, right? It's all about understanding. It's no different than if you got 5 people that come over and you've got a pizza. You're going to go, wow, my normal way of doing pizza is in halves and then quarters. And, you're not using those numbers. But for a minute, you've got to pause and say, okay, can I make either 10 slices so everybody gets 2? Or are there going to be 8 slices and one person's going to be SOL or 2 people? Whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, we're using math every day in our lives. We just don't realize it because we're thinking about what's going on and what's the situation. And believe it or not, you're using math. So I need you to stop saying you don't understand numbers and that you're not a numbers person. No, you're not a math whiz. No, you're not a math nerd. But you do understand math, you do understand your numbers, and you understand if you're making money or you're not making money. And it's just intimidating, okay? Really, that's what it comes down to. For most people, it's just that it's intimidating and that when they look at it, they panic and they have a fear. Sometimes that panic and fear comes, what if I find out something bad? What if I don't know what I'm talking about? Very legit things. Another panic comes because we tell ourselves we don't like numbers. The minute we see them, we want to throw up. And once again, self-fulfilling prophecy, we're going to get what it is that we're getting because of that very thing. So I really want to get across to everybody that it's important that you change that dialogue. Every time you hear yourself say, I'm not a numbers person. I don't get numbers. I'm terrible at math. We don't ask you really to do math. We're asking you to look at a number and see if that's a good number or a bad number. And you know what? You have calculators. Whether you have one on your desk, everybody has one in their phone, you have one on your computer. You don't have to do math. You can sit there, and if you need to subtract the $100 from the $1,000, you don't have to know off the top of your head it's $900. You just have to know that if I get a calculator out, I can go 1,000 minus 100, and boom, I find out it's 900. And I'm pretty sure you can understand that 900 is less than 1,000. Stop doing this to yourself. Stop pre-putting yourself into a position where you just don't learn your business numbers out of this false fear that you don't get math, or you don't get numbers, or that numbers scare you. They only scare you because you allow them to scare you. Like I said, you're not going to go from one extreme to the other. I am not expecting you to do that, but I am expecting you that every time you hear that little voice in your head, you're like, no, that's not true. And you know what? I challenge you to do something like one of my clients are doing, for example. You know what? She is not a math lover, right? But she has dedicated that every Friday she's going to look at her business numbers. And is she a pro at it? No. But is she getting better all the time? Absolutely. Is she identifying problems that she didn't identify in the past? Absolutely. Each week she gets stronger because she's committing to herself that every Friday, she calls them Financial Fridays, every Friday, she's looking at her business numbers. And I challenge you to do the exact same thing. You don't have to become a whiz. You just have to say, I'm going to challenge myself. And just like any skill that we learn, we're horrible at it when we first start. But what does happen is the more we do it, the more comfortable we get with it. So are you going to go out and solve these, mathematical equations? No. But are you going to be able to look at a P&L and be smarter and brighter than half the people out there that are looking at it? Absolutely. And you can sit there and you go, you know what? I may not be a math whiz, but I know good numbers when I see them. I know bad numbers when I see them. I know when I need to take advantage of an opportunity when I see it. I know when I need to pull back on something when I see it. Okay, that's because your numbers are telling you those particular things. And that's why I need you to make sure that you aren't telling yourself this false narrative over and over and over. Please commit to yourself right now, right at this very moment, that you will no longer allow yourself to tell yourself that you are not a math lover, that you are not a numbers person, that numbers scare you. It can be true, but it also can be something that the minute you say it, you put it on the shelf and you say, no more. No more am I going to let this fear cripple me for running a great profitable business. Because the reason you're not more profitable in your business, the reason you're running by the seat of your pants, the reason you're working 50 million hours, the reason that you just can't seem to get your arms around your business is because of this false narrative that you keep telling yourself that you're not a numbers person. You cannot have a business without understanding your business numbers, without being able to look at your P&L and seeing what it is that it's trying to tell you. It's telling you the story of your business. Yes, it is the report card of your business, but more importantly, when you start looking at it, comparing it to last year, comparing it to the last few months, comparing it to what's going to happen, it's telling you a story of how to make more money, how to put more money in your pocket. It's telling you if you spent $1,000 on something, it's telling you, did you make money from that? Not just what your gut is telling you, because half the time your gut's wrong. Your gut's going to say, oh yeah, you spent $1,000 and I know you made more than that. Well, how much more? I don't know. Did you realize you might have had to do $5,000, $6,000 just to break even on that? You've heard me talk about return on investment and being able to do that. That's what I'm talking about. You're running by the seat of your pants because you're telling yourself this false narrative. Now, I'm going to challenge you one more time. Find a day of the week. Look at those numbers. Start every time you hear that voice in your head, say, no, not today. I am getting stronger every single day with knowing my business numbers. Every time that creeps in, just say that. I'm getting stronger at understanding my business numbers every single day. That's all you got to say. You don't have to say anything crazy. You don't have to sit there and say, I'm a math nerd. You don't have to, if you want to joke and have some fun with it, absolutely. But I promise you, whatever you keep telling yourself is what's going to happen. So start telling yourself a different story. The minute it creeps in, tell yourself a different story. Can I get that from you? Can you please commit to doing that? I appreciate it. I promise you, you're going to make more money just because you're changing the way that you keep talking to yourself over and over and over. And with that, I am out of here. I'll talk to you next time. Bye for now.